Next up, we recognize an Illinois beef producer who exemplifies integrity, innovation, and success with the production and promotion of the commercial cattle sector. 2025 Illinois Beef Association Commercial Producer of the Year honors the Lidy Family Farms of Mulberry Grove.
I grew up on a livestock farm in Jasper County, raised hogs, fed out steers, all that sort of stuff. So growing up with it, I just really liked it. That's something I always wanted to do. I have spent the last 30 years actually in ag business. Graduated from University of Illinois in 1995 with an animal science degree. I've been working in the feed business for about the last 30 years, working with dairy and beef producers. So it's really a labor of love. I love working with the customers that I've got. I love taking care of the cattle. It's a lot of fun right now. I always wanted to have a place outside where I could have kids help out with chores, raise a few cattle, that kind of stuff. I was very production oriented growing up. We bought our first feeder calves back in 2005 when my son Matt and daughter Morgan were just real young. That was really the start of our cattle business. We've grown consistently since then. We have about 600 head of cattle here in Mulberry Grove, about another 1,000 or so down in Sandoval, and then we have the Holly Hills facility, has about 1,000 head today with current expansion plans to just about double that.
Our Highland facility is called Holly Hills Cattle, and that was named after my little sister that was taken from us in a car accident about 5 years ago. You know, she loved being outside helping Dad and I, just kind of being with the cattle, and she just loved that kind of stuff. So this was the best way to keep her involved, you know, just her name involved in everything that we do day to day. I did purchase the Holly Hills facility. I'm so glad we did because it's paid off in more ways that we can imagine. The facility was all dairy freestall barns. You know, it had all the freestalls in it, some concrete curbs, and we took all that out and made it just a big open area for steers to lay in. Towards the several buildings down, there's a milking parlor there that we tore down. Where the milking parlor was, we actually made our handling steer processing facility area where we vaccinate cattle, all of our holding pens. We built a nice loading chute there that we can load cattle, you know, off and on semis.
It needed a lot of work. We had to switch it over from a lactating dairy farm to a feedlot farm. We still wanted to utilize some of the concepts of the flush system and some of the labor savings and all that. So we could see a lot of potential in terms of being able to put a lot of cattle there and have it be a really efficient facility.
The sand in the flushing system is very beneficial for the cattle. One of the reasons is we flush the barns 2 to 3 times a day. What that does is carries out all the manure and the manure smell in the barn. The cattle aren't breathing that in. There's no ammonia smell or any of that. We very rarely get sick cattle. We use recycled sand. I shoot that sand in the barns 3 times a week. As they get up and down during the day, they walk that down into the center flush lane that the water takes out. The sand lane will fill up about once every 3 weeks. We'll clean that out, stack that on concrete sides, and then about every day we'll use the skid steer bucket and kind of push up that sand, and then it'll be ready to use in about 2 to 3 weeks. We can start using it and then reusing that sand again. With my dad being busy with his total livestock services job and seeing all of his customers, that takes up a lot of his time. How we kind of shaped our farm to be very labor efficient. I can do majority of the work feeding and barns by myself.
My feed expertise has been obviously very beneficial to our own livestock farm. Sometimes we make changes based on economics of feed. Sometimes we make changes based on economics of the beef. What our cost of gains are, you know, how heavy should we be feeding cattle because of the high cattle prices. You really kind of work your way through all the different scenarios of the current market conditions and figure out what's the best scenario for us to formulate diets for the customer. We have a system in place that we look at the cattle, we measure their average daily gains. We use tools like Performance Beef. That helps out a lot with measuring feed costs and measuring cost per pound of gain and measuring gains. So we try to utilize a lot of the tools that we have available into formulating those diets.
Lots of things I've learned financial-wise, herd management-wise, always going out there, you know, looking over those cows every single day, every single night, making sure they're all going healthy and strong. I knew a lot of the basic stuff going into it, but he's really helped me become more of a manager, more of an owner. You know, he's helped me just show me how these businesses grow and how this kind of business works.
When we first got the call that we were the Illinois Beef Association Commercial Beef Producer of the Year, very honored and very surprised. I didn't really know how that process started. I still don't, to be honest with you, how we got the nod, but it is nice to know that hard work's being recognized. We've busted our tails for 20 plus years to try to do the right thing all the time, and it's nice that other people have noticed that.
It's really hard to take care of hundreds and hundreds of little calves at a time, get them to stay healthy through their whole lifetime, and probably one of the most rewarding things is just seeing those little calves grow up into big steers and seeing our finished product.
It's really something for us to not only make money at, to be profitable, work together as a family and all that sort of stuff, but it's just a great way for us to remember her. You know, Holly was a go-getter. She was a farm girl. She loved cattle. To take what that place was and look at what it is today and still have a vision of what it's going to be and do that in her memory is just tremendous.